Imagine a Flash with no mentor, no family, and no speed force. This is the absolute Flash. I'm Andrew the Geek Master, and in today's video, we're diving into a new take on the fastest man alive, now part of a brand new universe, a world shaped by Darkseid. We've already covered the absolute versions of Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman, which you can check out in the cards and the comments below. To not miss stories like this one, hit that subscribe button, turn on the notification bell, and let's get started. The story begins with teenager Wally West slowing down in the middle of a desert, questioning what he just did. His body feels different, radiating a mysterious energy, sparking with lightning, and vibrating like he's out of sync with reality. It terrifies him. In another universe, he would be a hero known as the Flash, the third to bear the title. But here, whatever he did, it was far from heroic. He knows something is terribly wrong. He messed up and there's no going back. He knows he has to keep running, but he also knows that once he finds out, he will literally kill him. He struggles to catch his breath, anxiety gripping him, but he tries to calm down, just like she taught him. And as he finally starts to regain control, we're taken back to the moment where it all began. 2 days ago on a rainy night, Wally was walking home alone. He was 15 years old and he preferred being alone, no friends, no attachments. It helped him think faster, helped him manage the constant flood of thoughts brought on by his anxiety. The only person who ever helped him relax was his mom, but she was gone now, and that meant he was truly alone. This is when we learn that Wally lives in a restricted military base called Fort Fox. He wasn't supposed to be outside the base at this hour, and the guards at the entrance warned him that if his father found out, he'd lose it. Just then, a man in a lab coat stepped in, convincing the guards to let Wally go. After all, they were all young once. This kind doctor who escorted Wally home was actually Barry Allen, but not the one we know. This was Barry from the Absolute Universe. As they walked, Barry tried to get Wally to open up. He asked if sneaking out was worth it, where he had been, and how hard it must be to make friends as a kid constantly moving from base to base. But Wally barely responded. Short, direct answers. When they finally reached Wally's house and Barry said goodbye, he made another attempt to connect with the boy, this time using a different approach. He knew Wally was bored and asked if he wanted to see something interesting. A few moments later, Barry led Wally into the laboratory where he worked inside the fort. It was a high-tech research facility, though Wally had no idea what really went on there. The truth is, Wally and his father never talked about his dad's work. In fact, they barely talked at all after his mother died. Then they finally arrived at a section Barry referred to as Project Olympus. There, Wally saw several gorillas trapped in tanks, possibly being used as test subjects. Naturally, Barry couldn't reveal too much. This was a classified project. What he could say was that they were working on cutting-edge physics and biology. It was a military project, which meant it was obviously something related to weapons development. Regardless, the real reason Barry brought Wally there was because he had read the boy's file and saw his potential. To Barry, Wally was too smart to be wasting his time in that place, so he invited him to work with him part-time on the project. Wally liked the idea, but he knew his father would never allow it, especially since it was a top-secret program. And he was absolutely right. At that moment, Colonel Wally West showed up, furious that Wally had left the base so late and even more enraged that he was there. Wally tried to explain that he had just gone out for a walk and lost track of time. His father assumed he was getting into trouble with friends, but the truth was, Wally didn't have any friends. Seeing the tension, Barry stepped in, explaining that he was just showing Wally around so he could have a little fun. He even asked the colonel to be more understanding, pointing out that it was clear the boy was bored and frustrated. But the colonel wasn't having it. He reminded Barry that civilians weren't allowed in the lab and told him to mind his own business. As for Wally, he ordered him to go home immediately. warning that they would talk later. Back in the present, in the middle of the desert, Wally thinks about how he should have never gone with Barry. He should have never stayed with his father. He should have run away when he had the chance. He should have left everything behind so that he wouldn't be able to hurt anyone. That's why he came to an isolated place, hoping to be alone again. But Wally wasn't alone. At that moment, he heard the sound of a military vehicle approaching. For a second, he thought it might be his father. But suddenly, a boomerang-shaped drone emerged from the vehicle, scanning for him. It quickly locked onto Wally, forcing him to run desperately into a cave. The person controlling the drone remarked that they could have taken him out already and saved themselves a lot of trouble. But apparently, their superior wanted Wally alive. That's when we see his pursuers. 4 figures step out of the military vehicle. These are the rogues of the Absolute Universe. The team consists of Lisa, who in another universe is known as Golden Glider, a mysterious girl named Jessie, a man called Harkness, the one controlling the drone, who in another universe is Captain Boomerang, and their leader known only as Captain. But in another universe, he is most likely Captain Cold. Captain quickly takes command, ordering the team to capture Wally alive for now. As he runs, Wally's thoughts spiral into chaos. He wonders if his father sent these people after him. The more he thinks about it, the less control he has over himself. He starts crying, overwhelmed by another anxiety attack. And once again, it affects his strange, unstable powers. One day before that, Wally was in his room playing the bass when his father walked in to talk about the previous night. Wally said he was fine and apologized for leaving at that hour, but what the colonel came to say was that the work they were doing there was dangerous. He needed to be there to lead the project, but he also had to keep Wally safe. Even though Wally was young, he understood that this was his father's job, but he couldn't take it anymore. Being locked in his room, waiting for the colonel's orders, living alone, and constantly moving from base to base because of his father's work. In his frustration, Wally even said that at least Barry showed some interest in him, that Barry saw his potential. But Wally's father was not happy to hear Barry's name. In fact, he ordered his son to stop talking to Barry altogether. In the end, Wally saluted and left the house, but not before telling his father that if his mother were still alive, she and Wally would have left the colonel a long time ago. With that, Wally ran out of the house into the rain. Seeing some kind of strange reflection in the puddles, he followed it toward the laboratory in search of Barry. When he arrived, he saw a bizarre green ape in a containment tank. And further ahead, he finally found Barry inside a dome emitting lightning, as if it were some kind of particle accelerator. When Barry saw Wally, he shouted at him to run away immediately, telling him to get as far away as possible. In the present, that's exactly what Wally is doing. He's running through the cave, desperately trying to escape the superpowered beings chasing him. Harkness uses his boomerangs, hoping to lure Wally out, while Lisa and Jessie wait on the other side of the cave, anticipating his exit. Back in the past, it is revealed that Wally did not obey Barry that night. Instead of running away as Barry had told him, Wally ran forward, toward Barry, hoping to help him somehow. But at that exact moment, an explosion erupted from Barry's experiment. Wally believes that his presence triggered some kind of chain reaction, causing the explosion. Now, Wally can run as much as he wants, but he will never get far enough, because he knows what he did. It was Wally's actions that caused the death of Barry Allen. Yes, Barry Allen died in the very explosion that gave Wally his powers. Then we jump forward in time, 1 year after the incident. Inside Barry's destroyed lab, a man emerges through a reflective surface. He interacts with the computers and accesses the Project Olympus files. On the screens, he sees unexplained footage of a lava creature and Wally interacting with that bizarre green ape. He also finds records of Barry's experiments, several gorillas attacking a city, and even images of Wally in a new Flash suit. These files bring a wicked smile to the man's face. Talking to his mirrors, he says that it's finally time for this world to fall. That's when we discover that this man is the mirror master of the absolute universe. Absolute Flash is a fascinating story. It starts with a mystery-filled script, leaving many unanswered questions that will likely unfold throughout this arc. So many mysteries. Wally's struggles with his father, how he got his powers, why he's being hunted, the true intentions of Mirror Master, and most importantly, what really happened to Barry Allen. One of the most intriguing aspects of this absolute universe is that Wally has no mentor, so it will be incredibly interesting to see how he grows and develops on his own in the upcoming issues. If you haven't subscribed yet, make sure to click that button, turn on notifications, and drop a like so you don't forget later. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next adventure.